All right, the Dan and McGrath late night hour at 12:42 a.m. I guess that'd be November 2nd, 2023. This is a cool one, even though I'm hammered. It's going to be my two favorite bands of all time: Graaf Generator versus King Crimson. Albums of the 70s, right? So totally different albums, but this is going to be good. All right. So we're going to start off with Graaf Generator. The least we could do is wave to each other. Right. Pretty good. It's their first proper album, 1970. I think Fripp might even play on a little bit of it. But yeah, so just a really good, dark, progressive rock album. I mean, probably like a 9 out of 10. Great fucking album. Very dark. Very primitive. I love it. So, anyway, that is versus the second King Crimson album, which is usually considered like a twin to In the Court of the Crimson King, but it's called In the Wake of Poseidon, 1970. I love it. It's better than In the Court, even though it's a clone. The production's amazing. Pictures of the city, Fripp, boom, 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 the guitar, the whole thing is amazing. Plus, you have Peter Giles on bass, incredible bass player. In the Wake of Poseidon, the theme, I mean, the actual song, the title track, whew, it's kind of like Epitaph, but it's better. It's one of the greatest produced songs, one of the best produced songs in the history of mankind. Listen to that motherfucker on surround sound. Holy fuck, it's perfect. These boys, 1970, it's the best sounding song I've heard in my entire life. Cat Food. I'm not a big fan of Cadence Cascade. And then the Devil's Triangle, which is just a ripoff of Mars, which they should have given credit to. But I mean, great album. Great album. What I'm going to go, which one's better? Graaf versus King Crimson. I'm going to go, I guess we're going just 1 to 5 stars. I know I said a 9 out of 10. I'm going Graaf. That's a solid 3.5. I'm going King Crimson 4. So King Crimson beats them out with a 55-45 percentage. So King Crimson's up 1-0. Yeah. All right, second album from King Crimson in 1970 is Lizard, a complete outlier. Totally different. The production to me is just terrible. I mean, a couple of the Happy Family and the other one with their same guitar motifs or same guitar thing is Cat Food. Kind of silly, kind of primitive. And the production's terrible. The Lizard Suite thing is great. Love it. And Circus is one of the greatest songs I ever did, but live, it's so amazing. It's like one of the greatest live songs of all time, Circus. But on the album, it's just, the production just sucks. So, I mean, live, these songs are 10. They've redone them in the last 10 years, and you realize how powerful they are. 10. But the production suffers. So, and then we have Graaf, 1971, I think, H-E, that whole fucking thing. I don't know how to pronounce the whole fucking album. Some kind of a chemical reaction to life or whatever the fuck. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I have no idea. Anyway, terrible album cover, terrible title, but an amazing album. H2HE. whatever the fuck. But Emperor in His War Room was one of the greatest songs of all time. Come on. What's the other one? There's the well, it has Killers on it. Totally overrated song. One other really good song. Right. And A House with No Door, I think, is on there. Pioneers Over Sea, I think it was something like that. What an incredible progressive rock album from '71. So that versus Lizard. I mean, if I was going live, I'd go Lizard 70-30. But as a studio album, I'm going Pioneers Over Sea versus Lizard 60-40. McGrath. So it's a 1-1 tie. 1-1 here is typical, like a soccer match. It's funny, like in the United States. You know, it's funny, we always talk about soccer matches. Every game ends like 2-1. That's because each goal is like 1 point, right? But in football, it's like, oh, it's 28-21. What a game! But it's actually 4-3. So they just have more value to the points. It's just no difference. But soccer is one of the worst games of all time. Better than hockey. Better than volleyball. I would say one. If you had to say the greatest sports, I would say as a game, baseball is probably a 10. Football is probably an 8. Basketball, I've always loved basketball, and I've been a huge Golden State Warriors fan since the day since I started listening to them, listening to the games. Because back in the 70s, you know, you only have a few games a year. We didn't have every game on. I remember, like in the late 80s, they started televising every game, but you had to pay for it. Right? So I just listened to them through the squiggly lines, just like I listen to Playboy Channel through the squiggly lines. Hello, and that's the life of an American in when you're 13 to about 17. There you go. Way better than Pornhub. You had to use your imagination. You had to see a couple nipples through the lines. There's lines there. So anyway, here we go. We're going the third album. So it's 1-1 right now. Graaf Generator versus King Crimson, the two greatest progressive rock bands, bar none, of all time. I guess there's a couple coming close, but not quite close. No pun intended. So we have the third album of the 70s. Graaf Generator is Pawn Hearts. I believe that's Man Erg, Lemmings, and Plague of the Lighthouse Keepers. I mean, this is just flawless. It's perfection. Everything about it easily has to be considered top 10 ever for a progressive rock album. Maybe the darkest, most gothic, I guess, progressive rock album of all time. I give it a 5 stars, right? And then we have going against Islands, to me the most underrated King Crimson album ever, maybe my favorite. Formentera Lady, Islands, the title track, Lady of the Road, maybe the greatest blues song in the history of mankind. Oh my God. Sailor's Tale. Oh, how amazing. This is amazing stuff right here, right? And what else is on there? Oh, The Letter. Oh my God, The Letter's amazing. I think there's one last, there's like this one. So The Letter, Islands is na 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 na. And there's one other lengthy classical pieces, like the Seagulls or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, two of my favorite albums of all time. Both are in my top 10 ever. What would I prefer? It's so tight. It's a tie. I'm sorry. I have to give it a tie. They're both 5 stars. Two of the greatest albums ever recorded. Two of the greatest produced albums of all time. All right. So then the problem here is that Van Graaf Generator took a 2-year break. So their next 3 albums are going to be 74, I think 75, 76, right? Somewhere in there. Or maybe 74, 76, 76, whatever. It's like 74, 75, 76. King Crimson's next 3 great albums are going to be 73, 74, 75. So it's kind of the same thing. And then we'll give a wild card for a live album because Van der Graaf's live album from 78 is one of the greatest live albums of all time. And then Van der Graaf's, their last album under the Van der Graaf moniker in 77, 78, Glitter Dome, whatever the fuck is, one of the worst albums of all time. Okay. So we're going to go to the next. From 74, we have God Bluff from Van der Graaf Generator. Amazing. A new chapter in Van der Graaf. Way more of a heavy, progressive rock sound. It's incredible. Great, great, great stuff. I love it. I love Scorched Earth. I don't know if Arrow is on that. Undercover Man. The Sleepwalkers. That's probably the big one. The only thing about Sleepwalkers is that I hear this now later on in life. I hear that this little dun 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 kind of sounds like they lifted that from Thick as a Brick or Passion Play a little bit. So that drags it down a little bit. But I'd give the album, on the whole, I'd give it a 4. 4 stars out of 5. But then you have King Crimson, Lark's Tongues and Aspic. Maybe my favorite album of all time, right? Lark's Tongues and Aspic, Part 1. Woo, that is the shit. The only thing is I learned later on, like 20 years after hearing this. I first heard that in like 1990, I think 98, I discovered King Crimson. And I didn't realize about 10 years ago, so about 2012 or so, I listened to Bartók, whatever, how to pronounce that classical composer's name. They took everything. They stole everything for Lark's Tongues and Fracture and everything. So it just totally took my entire heart out of my body to realize that Fripp wasn't as innovative or creative as he was. He was just another copier like everyone else in the world. But anyway, love that song. Book of Saturday is amazing. Not a huge fan. I mean, I was in the day of, it's not Refugees, what it's called. That one fucking song. Now in this faraway land, in the depth of my hand, I'll never know my teeth. I'll think of that name. But then, yeah, it's probably my low point of the album. But Easy Money, I don't know why people don't realize that's maybe the greatest song in the history of mankind recorded. The greatest percussion of all time. Greatest guitar solo ever. Love the lyrics. Love the bass. Everything about it. Oh my God, the lyrics that sing. The perfect song. Easy Money. The other one was Exiles. Sorry, I forgot. It wasn't Refugees. It was Exiles. And then the talking drum is just, woo, man, that's hypnotic fucking killer shit. Is Fripp a god? He's a god. He is an absolute god. And then Lark's Tongues, Part 2. So obviously that's the greatest album of all time. I'll give it a 5. That's smashing. So let's see, the first album, King Crimson won 55-45. Second album was H2HE, that fucking thing, versus Blizzard. I give that about a 59-41 win for Lizard. Islands versus Pawn Hearts. We're going 50-50. But this one here, Lark's Tongues versus God Bluff. As much as I love God Bluff, I'm going King Crimson, Lark's Tongues and Aspic. That's a 65-35. Huh. And now we're getting to the big stuff. We're going Starless and Bible Black versus Still Life. Well, Starless and Bible Black, I love it. It's all mostly recorded live, even though nobody knew probably for 20 years. I love Night Watch. I love love it. And then Fracture is one of the greatest instrumentals in the history of mankind. But McGrath Generator has the Still Life album with, I think, it's called Pilgrims, Childlike Faith in Man, whatever that fucking was. Two of the greatest songs of all time. And some others that I can't think of right now, but I'm going Still Life over Starless and Bible Black, 59-41. Again, we did 59-41. Maybe we should go 60-40. 60-40. All right, so we're getting to the last album. We got Red, King Crimson Red versus World Record. For some reason, people don't like World Record, the McGrath Generator. I think it's maybe the second best album after Still Alive. It's amazing. Wondering, Mask, Here She Comes, the great Mergleys 3 is probably my favorite song of all time. My God, it's incredible. I guess people don't like Peter Hamill playing the guitar. I don't think he's any good because he probably sounds like Neil Young, but that's the good thing. When you don't know how to play your instrument, you're better because you're not caught in the traps that we all get caught in. So Mergleys 3 is unbelievable versus Red. The song Red, I think, is way overrated. Probably one of my least favorite King Crimson songs. Fallen Angel, one of their most underrated songs. That's a perfect 10. What's wrong with these people? One More Red Nightmare, unbelievable. Providence, that was a live improv, which was not even one of their top 20. They should have put I am a driver on the underground train. That's the one. That should have been on. If that was on there, it'd be their best album, but it's not. I am a driver. And then, of course, Starless, maybe my favorite. Once again, 5 songs ever. Let's see. So these two guys against each other. So basically, we're going Starless versus Mergleys 3. Mergleys. I'm gonna have to go with King Crimson because I love Starless so much. The song is just so amazing. Everything about it is maybe the greatest song of all time. I keep saying this. So I'm going Red over world record 62-38. So let's see who we got. The first album was The Least We Could Do Was Wait for Each Other versus In the Wake Up Poseidon. I think we won Wake Up Poseidon. They were 1-0. And then we took H to E. Fucking what the fuck that thing is out of the title. Versus Lizard. So it's 1-1. H to E won. Right there. And then we went to Lizard or Islands versus we had a tie. Islands versus Pawn Hearts. So it's 1-1. And then we had God Bluff versus Lark's Tongues. Lark's Tongues 2-1. And then we had 2-2. It was Starless versus Still Life. And then 3-2. The winner was Red over World Record. So now we go to McGrath. They're called McGrath now. I think it's 70. Is it 78 when they first done? Vital is 78. One of the great. It's got to be top 10 live albums of all time. It's so awesome. It's so fucking heavy. And King Crimson didn't really have. They had Earthbound, which is like a bootleg. I mean, it's great, but not great. And then USA, which I've never heard because I don't even want to hear it because I've heard all of. I probably have 100 King Crimson concerts from maybe 60, 50 from the Wetton, Bruford era. Cross. I mean, if you had to pick their best concert from the 73, 74 era, the 73 shows are actually the best. The 72 shows are a mess. They're noisy. They're terrible. Jamie Muir, I love them, but there's zero because it's just too much noise. The recording quality is terrible. But their 73 shows are amazing, but they're all bootlegged. So they sound like shit, but their playing is way better. So I would say King Crimson's best live album as a whole would be from that era. 74 would be the Asbury Park. Is pretty amazing. So for that versus Vital, I'll say Asbury Park 53-47. So we've got King Crimson winning the whole thing. Two of my favorite. I wish that if you could think back, a perfect super band instead of John. I love John Wetton, amazing. But what if we had Fripp with Peter Hamill? Hello. Those two guys, my two favorite artists of the 70s. That would have been the greatest band of all time. Come on. So that's it. King Crimson versus McGrath generated the two greatest bands. And definitely the two greatest progressive bands of all time. I mean, if I was going to say who was next, I mean, early Genesis with Peter Gabriel, Gong, early Gong from 71 to 74. I mean, the Yes from 71 to about 70, I guess 72. That's a short time. Fragile, the Yes album, close to the edge. Gentle Giant had their moments. And I guess that's it. That's what you got. That's what you got, Parnelli. That's all you got. That's my take. Good night.